I came across a video by Pat Kay. He claimed on his video that photography is 70% what's in it, 20% how you make it, and 10% editing. I disagree. I think photography is mostly how you make the image, and the subject is not that important. And I think editing is even more important than subject. Let me explain. Hi, it's Peter here. And before we get into the business, a small announcement. I might be doing a bit less videos during the fall. I have certain things I need to do, work-related stuff and some other interesting things that might take my time a bit. But I'll try to keep up with the schedule. But sorry if I cannot. But let's start with the video. Subject is important, but I think more important thing is the way you photograph the subject or the idea. Because a photograph, it's not about the subject, in my opinion. It's about how it can represent the photographer's idea and photographer's feelings and photographer's storytelling. That's what we see in a photograph. We feel emotions when we look at the photograph, and subject is not the thing. No, not necessarily. Of course, it can be, but I don't think it is. The more important thing is how we feel, and that's where it comes to the making of the image. How can we pass on our feeling in a form of a photograph to the viewer? I think that's the main thing in a photograph. Let me explain. If there are two photographers trying to make an image of the same subject or the same idea, the images won't be identical. That's because they have a different level of photography. They know different things about photography. Maybe they are from a different genre. They have a different type of gear, different type of lenses and all that. But what most important thing is that they do have a different type of experience in life. They have experienced life differently. They have a different way of living. And it's also about how they think about photography. The other photographer might want to show everything, tell whole story with one image, and tell the viewer what to think. Then there might be photographs or a photographer that thinks totally differently, doesn't want to show everything. And I think that's the main difference, because some of us want to show everything and some of us want to leave some imagination to the viewer. And I'm not saying that either one of these is wrong or the right way to do it. I personally tend to like images that don't show everything. A tighter crop, leaving something out, will give room for imagination for the viewer. The viewer needs to decide about the thing, and if you show everything, then you will tell the viewer what to think. That's what I see, and I think that's why an image that doesn't show that much is a lot better image, in my opinion. I'm not saying that either one of these is right or wrong. It's just a different approach to photography, and that's why I think how you make the image and how you represent the subject and the idea is a lot more important than what's in the image. The subject is not that important because we can make really interesting images of a dull subject that might not be a photograph or doesn't look like a photograph or a thing that we could photograph. Because the thing is that the most important thing is to how we photograph it. Because we need to be there at the right time, perfect light, right aperture, right shutter speed, and all that. That's way more important, because with those parameters and some others, you will tell the story. You will decide how much there is depth of field, what do you want to show, what is the composition, and all those are a lot more important than just, what is in the photograph. I don't think that's nearly as important as what to do with the camera and how to photograph that subject or idea that you have in mind, because the most important thing is that you're telling a story, and you're telling your story with the aperture, shutter speed, ISO, composition, and all that. And light, of course, is really important. Now I have to decide which way to walk. And about editing. Image editing is a big part of photography. It has always been. They used to edit images in darkroom to make the image look like their own look. And the same applies now with digital. Of course, it's a lot easier and more accessible like it used to be. But the image editing part will make the image finalized. It will, or you will add some mood in the image edit and all that. And I'm not talking about composite images, which is, you know, a totally different thing, but just regular street photography, for example, or documentary or whatever images. You need to edit them and make them look your own. And I think that's a big part of the style. And I think that's why image editing is even more important than the subject or what it is inside the image. And it's time for facts from Finland. This time it's not a fun fact, it's just a fact, because right where I'm standing, there was an assassination, a political assassination about 100 years ago. Our Ministry of Internal Affairs, Heikki Ritavuori, was shot in front of his door, came out and was shot right where I'm standing. And the interesting thing is that there hasn't been any political assassinations since that. So 100 years ago, it was the last one so far, and hope there won't be any more. Now you're probably wondering why I'm talking about how when I have a video where I say that you need to ask the question why. And yes, you're correct. It is a bit odd that I'm talking about how, but the why is above all. You need to ask why before you even start photographing, and then comes the how. And it's more important than the subject. And the why on this particular image was because I really like the sign, or the saint is showing where to go when you park your car. It's a garage over there. So what about this? Is this just a bunch of bull? Of course not. There is always the thing that sometimes the subject is very important. And of course, if you have a photograph of your grandchild, for example, there the subject is the most important thing. Everything else don't matter at all. It doesn't matter if it's a good photograph at all. If it's about your grandchild, for example, it is a good photograph. And then what's in it is the most important thing. It's 100% on those images. But then, if we think about the photographs in general, the things that are in the photograph can be the feeling, the story, and everything like that. And of course, that is important. It's in the photograph. But I think more important is still how you can make that image so that the story is important, that the story shows it, transfers feelings to the viewer and all that. So I really think that Pat Kay was a bit off when he said about this. But of course, like in everything, there is also a story, and to be honest, it depends a little bit also what Pat Kay meant with what's in a photograph. But I still think to get it there, you need the skills, and that's more important. And here is the video about why, and also the Pat Kay's video I was referring to. Very good video. You might want to watch that next. But hey, thanks for watching, and bye for now.